We are officially live, RTD Live Talk, Monday, December 11th, 9:33. A minute or two late. I apologize for that, but still trying to figure out this whole live stuff. It's not as easy as I would like for it to be, but yet I'm learning the process. So hope everyone's doing well. Looking forward to getting some good feedback from everybody tonight. So let me open up my screen, and then I would love to begin chit-chatting Bitcoin futures, because I believe that this is a part of a greater plan and a greater scheme by the powers that be to get involved in this momentum in a way that's not beneficial for you and I and for those that believe in cryptocurrency. So Tony, good to see you on, my friend. Sterling Payton, hey there. I have an echo. Is that true? Let me know if I have an echo or not still. I don't want to cut my speaker on. So other than that, how's everybody doing tonight? Anything new, any recent developments outside the Bitcoin futures worth talking about before we get into the main conversation of tonight? Serious echo, bro. Okay, same here. All right, let me figure it out. 1 second. Let me figure out how to eliminate the echo. Close some windows, see if that'll help. Serious echo. Turn camera off. Let me see here. Serious echo. Let me try to cut my volume down. Is that, I can hear good enough? Same here. So is it a little bit better or no? Litecoin is on a bull run up. Yes, it is. So that's interesting. Just today, in and of itself, apart from all the, the possible happenings of things to come, for it to spike the way it's spiking is quite, exciting / alarming all at once, because all this stuff is happening. It seems like it's happening so fast. It's kind of hard to really understand how, what, where, but yet I guess it's a lot of, cash flowing into these things because people are either tired of fiat or speculating on hoping things get better. Litecoin been on the move for the past 2 days. Yeah, very crazy. So before I actually get into today's conversation, as always, I got that number above my head and I want to get into some phone calls, and I want to find out if we have any new viewers, those that might be joining us for the first time, that want to share where you're calling from or where you're chatting from, or want to call in, either one. Says, I heard Peter Schiff will be outed as Soros partner by QAnon. Doc of the Bay, winter is the best time for cryptos. It's turned out to be that way. And I don't think it's officially winter as of yet. No number. Tony Blair, so you have no number, or the number you're referring to is not working? Let me know. No number. Winter is the best time for crypto. So let me begin by starting off on not sure if it's a institutional money that pushed the price up so much in the last month or just newcomers. Well, I will be willing to bet that it's a lot of newcomers, because I'm sure if you check your Facebook or check your typical social media, every sponsored ad has something to do with mining, IRA, crypto investing, or someone's out there trying to teach you how to teach you how to purchase Bitcoin. So they turn this into a real true profession on just figuring out a way to transfer fiat into crypto. So it's everywhere. I mean, the mainstream media is even getting in on it now. Every day it seems like there's a report on Fox 10 or CNN talking about how Bitcoin is in a bubble, in a bubble, in a bubble. But yet I don't know, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't heard much about the stock market. And last I heard, stock market is at an all-time high. I haven't checked it today. Let me see what it's. So we had 24,386 for the Dow Jones. And so I believe that's an all-time high. But yet I don't really see many people screaming it's a bubble. And if you look at this historical track of that thing and how it goes up and it comes down hard, why are they not talking about the Dow Jones bubble? That's a good question to ask yourself. Fall, winter, spring, but not the summer. Change. It says, I could easily see the recent run up being made by big banks like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, then wanting to place short contracts and dump on the market to profit. So And that's kind of where, you know, that's kind of where I stand as well. The idea that you have all this so-called institutional money getting involved and them actually making cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin, the primary one, a financial asset now officially, is not designed to help the little people get involved and to prosper. You can guarantee that. So the question is, why are they so excited to have futures? Because they are going to turn the CBOE and CME and all the other exchanges and futures, contracts and derivatives and all that stuff is going to be coming soon. It's going to turn into a Las Vegas where people are going to be betting against cryptos, and those that are not involved in this particular mix are going to be on the short end of the stick, because I believe they're going to drive the price up so high, get everybody and their mother excited, and then all of a sudden they're going to sell all those futures and drive the price, and it's going to drop to the bottom, and people are going to be shocked out their mind, and they're going to be forced to just live with the reality that fiat is supposed to rule the world. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So anyway, so anybody got any things they want to share that you'd be willing to call in? Let's get some conversation. I want to hear somebody's voice. This time, you know, as I learn and as I do more videos, looking to improve the audio quality, because a couple people said they couldn't hear last time. So wanted to get some people to call in and so I can hear some voices. So anybody got a unique thought or a unique angle that they may want to present and share with the RTD University or RTD audience, feel free to do so. So give me a call, somebody. Anybody out there want to give me a call? I'm able and willing to listen. But anyway, let's see what else we got. How do we know the bankers didn't create Bitcoin? That's another thing. Who nobody really knows. And so a lot of people speculate, saying that, you know, it's an institution. Even there's alternative gentleman out here mentioned about Alan Greenspan being the creator of it, and he's on this, you know, it's for the good guys, and you know, the good guys gave it to us as an option. So we'll see. But let me see who will may have a first caller.
Call for extension.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Is anybody there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi there. How you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How you doing? Thanks for calling.
No problem, bro.
Now, may I ask, what's your name? What city you calling from?
Miami.
Oh, Miami. Okay, MIA. How you doing, man? So what you got in your mind? What you think about these Bitcoin futures? Is it to help you and I out, or is it to hurt us?
Well, earlier this year, I sold all my gold and silver.
Okay.
And I bought cryptocurrency.
Okay.
So I had about maybe $50,000-$60,000 worth of gold and silver.
Uh-huh.
So I cashed it in. Now I'm sitting on like $500,000.
Okay. So it's been good to you,
yeah.
It sounds like.
But my question is, like, with everything that's going on, the pivot from Western civilization to Eastern civilization, the fall of oil, the robotics, and all of this crazy stuff that's going on, what is currency worth if stuff has no value?
Ooh, good question.
That's my question.
Okay, so let me, you know, and of course, I'm going to just share with you my thoughts and opinions. I'm not an expert, just a man with an opinion and trying to present everybody an opportunity to share their thoughts. So I appreciate you asking that question. And so what I took out of that was, you know, what is currency worth? And at the end of the day, it's whatever you can purchase at the time that you go to retrieve whatever it is you're looking to purchase. So right now, things are kind of calm in a sense, outside of all the things you mentioned. And so the idea that you can take $1 still and a $5, $10, $20 and still go out and somewhat enjoy yourself, even though you don't purchase as much, it would say that the purchasing power of that currency is still relatively good. Now, as things move forward, as all those things you mentioned begin to really hit the fan and people begin to panic, and then inflation, which is what the Federal Reserve is struggling with achieving according to their measurements, once they crank up inflation and things start to skyrocket, then the question of currency, what can it purchase, will come into play. So as of now, you can purchase a lot of things with it still, but yet there will come a time, in my opinion, soon, where you won't be able to purchase much. And at that point, that's where the whole alternatives, such as the things you've done, might be of use to you. So But I believe currency is whatever you can purchase at the time that you're trying to purchase it. So hope that kind of gives you a little something that just my thoughts on it. And so what do you think about that?
You don't see Bitcoin as a currency?
Bitcoin definitely can be a medium of exchange, yes, and especially outside of what we've known to this point. So I definitely see it as something that people will be willing to accept. For example, if I want to sell something to you, I believe that since you are aware of it, I'm aware of its value. It'll be easier for me and you to transact because we're aware of it. But you got an old mother or grandmother or granddad who are probably a little old school, prefer either paper or they prefer some metal. They may say, no, I'm not, that's for young folks and stuff like that. So if you recognize the value of it, then I believe, it's something that can be used as money. Yes.
Yeah, but when you think about the shift to Asia and like robotics and everything,
right?
Jobs are being lost. Everything's going to get cheaper. So,
yeah,
I think the dollar is based on scarcity.
Scarcity. Now, scarcity as far as like it not being enough, because I believe that there's more dollars in existence in digital form than is actually needed, other than the fact that it's been a reserve currency for almost 100 years. So scarcity as far as the supply of money in circulation?
No, that's not what I mean. What
okay.
I mean is when America forces people to use the dollar
right
to get energy and whatnot, that's manipulation,
Oh, hands down. I mean, I would imagine, yeah. We've used our...
When China comes in and backs their currency with gold and whatnot, people are going to flood into that.
I've already... I'm sorry, go ahead. How did you finish?
No, you go ahead.
No, I agree 100%. And as I always mentioned, I believe that everything that is to come as far as the next monetary shift or paradigm or whatever it is already formed. It's just that it hasn't, that switch hasn't been cut on yet. So when it does, and I've even heard over the years from other alternative gentlemen in this space that talk about how, the Chinese encourage, and they actually have it to where you can go to your own personal bank and actually purchase gold directly from a commercial bank. So I believe they've already put, metals in their citizens' hands for the time that the yuan might be backed by some form of metal. So I believe they're already prepared. It's just that we over here on the West, we've forgotten the importance of precious metals and having alternatives other than just paper. So when the shift does happen, it's going to be a shock, globally, but yet it's going to be more of a shock for us because we've been living high on the hog for so long. The idea that we can probably go to a second, third world status and the shoe be on the other foot as far as everything being made in America and sent to China, kind of like we have that privilege right now. That's what I can see happening, years from now. And that's what's probably already in play as we speak, probably.
Okay, then my last question is capitalism. Do you still believe in capitalism?
I do. And from my knowledge of what capitalism is, it gives everybody a fair chance to express themselves and to create. And so the problem is that capitalism nowadays have become more of it's been more used as a negative sense because we've been conditioned to think that government should play a major role in our lives. And in actuality, they're hindering us from actually growing and expressing ourselves. I believe each and every one of us has gifts to share. And if your gift, if you cultivate it, you should be able to be compensated for it, according to your value you bring into existence. So I am a firm believer that every man should earn a keep and everyone has a possession and opportunity to express themselves and be paid for it. So I do believe it, but yet, depending on who you ask, it might not be that way for much longer. Unfortunately, of course. But no, I mean, I appreciate you for sharing your thoughts. Definitely continue to chime in on the chat as well, buddy. I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, bro.
All right, thank you. Interesting there. I mean, yeah, and also, you seem to be doing pretty well on the crypto front. So definitely, keep doing what you're doing. And other than that, man, yeah, the Bitcoin stuff is going to be, next year. I'm really concerned about next year now that I, think about all the stuff that's being really pumped out there on everything. They're rushing all these futures. Everyone's trying to get their foot in the door first. If you had a chance to watch the interview or the news thing I did earlier with what's happening with the gold out in the East, how they're rushing to get the yuan oil futures things in the mix before the end of the year, and so everyone's rushing before 2018 hits. And then if you had a chance to watch the prior interview, you got that Economist cover of 1988 of the 2018 being the year of some world reserve currency, and this stuff out here is about to get serious. It says, I believe in capitalism. It says, king for now because of network effects, financing economics, but Bitcoin core is inherently flawed. Bitcoin core. So the idea that you added core on the back of that Bitcoin lets me know, because I hear people try to distinguish between Bitcoin and then all of the forks that came from it. And so I'd imagine that the Bitcoin Cash or whatever else spun off of that might be a little bit more solid, according to the way you address that. No taking down Bitcoin yet, still very early. Which Bitcoin doesn't have a downside? Asia is where most of the transactions are occurring, China and Japan. Yeah, and so I guess as far as regulations with China and Japan on the crypto space, I don't think nothing's really solid other than just some good news here and there, but they haven't really condoned it just yet. So anyway, Bitcoin Cash, laughing out loud. Yeah. So question is, give me some of your thoughts on Bitcoin futures, and then will this be the only future they look to put in play, or will they also bring a Litecoin once Litecoin kind of reaches the same similar market cap as Bitcoin? That's going to be another question, because Bitcoin, in my opinion, and just might start sharing some of my thoughts. I believe Bitcoin, King BTC. I believe Bitcoin is being pumped up so much, and it's about to be, because it's the first one, it stands the greatest risk of being the one that takes the hardest fall and gets the most scrutiny from the media, as you can see. But then Litecoin right behind it is, it's a useful coin that is, has all some features that Bitcoin right now may be able to do. So Litecoin could take that market cap. I would love for it to take Bitcoin market cap, but we'll see. History tells all Bitcoin dark. First offspring. Bitcoin 40,000 soon. I don't doubt it. Now, will that 40,000 soon be because of all that cash coming in from the financial institutions that they're saying is on the way starting January, when everyone can kind of find their way into this space? Or will it be 40,000 naturally because the mainstream media and everyone's mom and dad is finding out about it and trying to jump in? How do you think it's going to hit 40,000? Or just, natural momentum are going to take it to that point? What are your thoughts? Arbite and Verge. Yeah, those coins or tokens I'm not familiar with. I heard of them, but don't know them, so can't really speak on that. I know living in China in a demand-dominated world will suck for Americans, but do you really believe the U.S. could fall into second, third world status? I believe that when the reserve currency, we no longer have the reserve currency, the Federal Reserve note is no longer needed as far as it's being something that people have to keep in reserves. And then at that point, we'll have to have a domestic dollar and then some form of payment to do transactions outside this country. And it won't be Federal Reserve notes. And so that's all we have here is Federal Reserve notes, because there may not be any type of gold other than what's in the ground out in the federal lands. But other than that, there's going to be a major blow to our way of life and our standard of living when everything coming into this country costs 3, 4, 5, 6 times more. Because think about it, if we no longer can flood the world with dollars, China's not going to send us, dollar-made products and cell phones and iPads and all that stuff made over there for pennies on a dollar for paper anymore. They're going to want something a little more substantial, such as metals. And so just to hit them out even harder, if you look at all the bilateral trades that those countries are looking to do amongst themselves with their own currency, but yet they're kind of position themselves that, hey, we can do business with our own currencies, whether it be the ruble and the Iran rial. But yet at the end of the day, in our vault, we got some gold to back this up. And so because they're talking gold so heavily, it's good to say that if they have to prove that they got gold in the banks, then they can actually attach and peg it to their currency. And then we'll be caught out on the carpet and have to give some answers to what we've been doing with all these Federal Reserve notes we've been printing. That's just my thought. Says there need to be a washout to clear all the weak hands. I'm talking a 75% drop. 75% drop in our way of living or in the remaining purchasing power of the currency. What do you have in mind? Newcomers see it as a get-rich-quick scheme and do not see the value to bypass government currencies. Newcomers see it as a get-rich-quick scheme and do not see the value of bypass government currencies. Yeah, that's true. And it's just the buzz and the excitement. So much excitement right now because when you have gains that's unprecedented, like, you know, you can have money in a bank account and you're lucky to get 0.01%, but yet if you set up a Coinbase account and put $100 in, you'll probably have 150 by, you know, in an hour, in 2 hours, the way things are going. So who in their right mind wouldn't want to get involved? Green Light Hawaii. Aloha. How you doing out in Hawaii? It does add some legitimacy, I agree. There is value, but primarily because of network effects. Look at statement at 650. Tony, what were you referring to at 650? Green Light Hawaii, Aloha from Hawaii. So we got Sean 1976. So Green Light Hawaii. So we have a couple people from Hawaii calling. Aloha. I guess it's probably what time is it there? It's about 10 o'clock, about 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, give or take, in Hawaii right now. Could be off. The situation can change. How about this? Sean 1976 or Green Light Hawaii. Either one of you, you know, I assume you guys are from Hawaii. One of you guys give me a call. I got a question for you. I'm only going to ask a question if you call in. So let me know if you are interested in hearing my question. Not to put you on the spot, but just I'm curious about the Hawaiian economy. And so I got a question for you if you want to call in. It's about 5 p.m. The time I made comment, the time, let me see, it was 6:50. Tony, then I gotta go back up. Do me a favor, Tony, just put it back inside the chat for me, and I can trust in the #1 factor. Yes, aloha, my friend. 454. Sean, give me a call, man. I got a question for you. 833 LIVE-RTD. I will call. Good deal. I'll wait for your call, buddy. Bitcoin futures. Is it the future? Another question. Share with me some of your thoughts on 2018. What are some things that you are either concerned about or some things that you are excited about? Of course, beyond the obvious of the idea that the current trend is showing that Bitcoin and other cryptos will probably be double or triple what they are now. But yet then it's that, you know, do you continue to hold or do you get out of it, or how do you maneuver it? And then you got the whole tax situation. Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how the IRS decide to really put down their foot to come get what's theirs. Can you make a video going into depth on how the bonds are manipulated?
Grasshopper, call for extend.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, my friend.
How you doing? Can you mute your computer so there's no echo on my end?
Oh, okay. Hold on. 1 second. Hello, my friend. How you doing? Is that better?
Yes, a lot better. It's funny hearing myself again. But how you doing, my friend? May I ask your name?
You're the first guy that. Sean.
Sean. Okay. So are you currently in Hawaii right now?
Yeah, I'm in Hawaii.
Okay.
Sorry if I stutter a little bit. I've never called in live on any show.
Not a problem, my friend.
A lot, though.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you calling in, man. I'm just trying to give you a chance to share your thoughts and opinions with YouTube. So my question for you, and so I did a video a while back about the universal basic income in Hawaii kind of being in the current pathway of being one of the states or whatever to be able to probably implement it first. So have you followed much or know much about that whole UBI, universal basic income stuff out there?
I have been following the basic income, but me personally, I don't like the idea.
Yeah, I agree. Why? So why? Give me some of your thoughts as to why you don't like it.
Well, you know, where is this money going to come from? Are they going to print it? Are they going to tag it on the back end, which I'm assuming on the, what is it, 21 trillion now that we have? Yeah,
21, and that's just what we know of. And then you have the other people talking about another 21 is missing from the Pentagon and all that stuff. So that's the thing. Like this system has been going on so long. Ain't no telling how much has been created or printed or promised that we're not even aware of. So we're just told 21 plus the the entitlement spendings and things like that. So yeah, man. But no, when I saw that article about UBI and how there's certain countries that are already implementing things, and I know Hawaii, I know it's expensive as ever. Am I right? I know I've yet to go there, but is it expensive or is it?
Yeah. It actually how I ran into this whole thing about rethinking the dollar and whatnot. I noticed when I was going to high school. I'm on one of the outer islands.
Okay.
But there was only 2 homeless, and we all knew who they were. You know what I mean? They were kind of chose that life. If that makes sense. Yeah. And after 2007, a lot of people lost their houses and whatnot, and it's to the point now, bro, that anywhere there's like water, you have like a little shanty town.
Really?
And yeah, it's like the scary part about it is like I think that the people have kind of grown used to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that scares me a lot because I'm probably about your age, a little older, but I got a boy that's going to college this year, and I wonder to myself, I'm going to do everything I can to send him to school, but I mean, there really is no jobs, I mean,
right.
What do you do when you get out of school with $150,000 worth of debt minus whatever I can pay?
Right.
And there's no jobs. And I talk to these kids. I own a body shop, and right next door is a brew pub.
Okay.
And I talk to these kids. They come back home, and they got these degrees in whatever they got, but they can't find a job. They're working right next door at the brew pub,
Right.
5 hours a night plus tips. I mean, how do you pay off your student loan, much less get ahead or buy a house or, things like that?
Right.
So, sorry, I didn't mean to ramble.
No, not a problem at all. And that's a real topic that I believe is tied into this whole shift or this new paradigm awakening we're going to have, because in the prior caller mentioned capitalism and socialism. Basically, it's a tug of war between both school of thoughts, both mindsets. So you have one mindset that encourages, the intervention and the necessity for help from, public officials, i.e. our government. And then you have what has always worked the most, which is just people getting up, getting active and creating. And so the idea that, everyone has to have a college degree in order to enter society is just showing and is proving to be a concept that's outdated. And so it's going to hurt a lot of people. And so I'm a parent myself. And so I'm learning the process of how to think outside the box. And so that's tied into the whole rethinking aspect, because what our grandparents and our parents experienced and enjoyed in life is completely different now. Like the whole idea of a retirement and just the idea of conventional savings. I mean, you lose money by leaving the bank account nowadays. So everything is different. So it requires people to think outside the box and be willing to take risk. And that's why I think entrepreneurship is going to be key. So everyone has a gift, I believe. And it's just a matter of, as a parent, I try to find out what my children's gifts are, and I'm going to do my best to help them cultivate it so that they can share it with the world. And I believe through that, they'll be able to have some opportunities. So, but that's just me though. So, but Sean, I appreciate your call, my friend. Thank you. Definitely continue to listen and chime in on the chat for me.
All right. God bless.
Thanks, brother. Enjoy your night. Yeah, man, that's another subject, college degrees. And the idea that you need a higher education in order to do something in life is going to be a part of this shift we experience. But that's going to be something else. You have 100,000 that you better be a doctor. Yeah, there's some doctors out there, 150,000 is just one school year, one semester type of thing for medical school and all the stuff that comes along with that. So I believe that bill for being in the medical field is a lot higher than 150,000. Cryptos is the future. That's a cool brother there, Sean. Yeah, Sean. So yeah, that was a good call, man. I appreciate you, being courageous enough to give your boy a call. Thank you. What kind of degree do they have? Well, and I think if it's not something that's highly in demand, it doesn't really matter what the degree is, because nowadays, in order to get, I'm in the Motown city, so here you have to have a master's degree to get a job at GM Ford. So basically, the college degree is a new high school diploma, and it comes to the engineering sector. So that's how it goes these days. So if you want anything that pays you well, you're gonna need a master's, and pretty soon the new thing will be a PhD. Yeah. So anyway, anybody got any more calls, man? Call in. Give me some of your thoughts. I'll be definitely love to hear some more voices. It's definitely great conversation. We can talk to somebody directly. So if anybody got any thoughts or anything they want to share, call in and let me know. They have degrees I've never heard of. Oh my goodness, there's degrees out here. I mean, you know, I'm sure the person is not watching it, but there's a degree in museum display studies or something like that, where you set up a display at a museum. That's it's different. It's all to fuel the debt market. Very true. The fact that the government subsidizes education, it don't matter on their part. It's student loans are considered an asset by the government. So they look at it, the idea, if they give our children debt to go to college, it don't matter what they study. They don't give a crap because they still got to pay that back. So imagine if you take the government subsidizing school out of the equation, college prices will go down. The cost of books will have to go down because most people wouldn't be able to afford it, so no one would go. So people would have to get a trade.
Grasshopper, call for extension 0 to accept. Press 1 to send the voicemail. Press 2 to hear the phone number. Press 3.
Hello? Hello?
To accept, press 1 to send the voicemail.
Hello?
Mike.
This is him.
How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good, buddy. How you doing?
Good. This is Tony Blaylock.
Oh, Tony, nice to hear your voice, my friend.
I've been following you for a while, man. Good to hear from you too.
Well, thank you, sir.
I made my comment on the chat room about the CME. And I feel that the futures market is just a way of them to dump derivatives on the unsuspecting and unknowing.
Yeah, and that is my exact thought. And I use the reference, or I would use the reference as to what they've done to precious metals. And so the idea that, you know, precious metal was money, but then when they brought it back into the people's hands, it was just a commodity that they can then manipulate and trade. So it's going to be the same type of situation, in my opinion.
I feel that you're right on that, but you know what happens to the bitcoins that are out there after this whole thing goes down? China is running from Bitcoin.
Yeah, but I think that if they do pump and then dump, it's going to be such a mind-blowing experience that a lot of people who are those newcomers that are just in it for the profits, they're going to run, or they're not going to run because they're going to lose everything. I read a report about a couple hours ago saying that people are taking out mortgages now, like full-fledged mortgages, to actually buy, you know, they take out the equivalent of a mortgage to purchase Bitcoin. Right. So you get all this heavy speculation of people only getting in because they expect to double or triple their money. So this is a new, and I don't think Bitcoin is in a bubble like most people say, but this is a new subprime mortgage of trying to flip houses. People trying to flip coins overnight. So imagine all those people who took out all that excess debt to get a coin at $17,000 to $18,000. The type of shock is going to be if these futures are dumped out and the Bitcoin goes back down to $1 or $100. So the people who yeah, go ahead.
I'm not sure they'll do that. I think Bitcoin will go. It will soar the way of the dollar. I mean, it'll just inflate its way out. Who wants a $40,000 Bitcoin when it's only worth 4 cents?
Yeah, that's interesting. That's it. But see, yeah, I mean, I could be possible. And of course, I'm not sure, but the fact that there's a limited supply. And so I think that
fork it.
Yeah,
they'll fork it. There's no limited supply.
Yeah, good point there. Because they've already on a third fork, and I heard 3 or 4 more coming.
They got another one coming up next month.
Yeah, so it's going to be they're going to fork Bitcoin till they basically ruin it, and so
right, till the wheels fall off.
Exactly.
but you know, my thing is, where are we going from here? We know the direction China and Russia is heading. Yeah. Where are we going? Because that's the ball I want to be on the other side of. Because this one going downhill is going to kill a lot of people.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. I put a lot of thought to this stuff, and I'm like, knowing the future is out east. If anyone had any substantial means to be able to up and relocate, right now would be a great time to do it, because everything is not really jumping off just yet, but it's in place. like the Silk Road, all that stuff is up and ready just to be cut on. And so if a business owner or entrepreneur could get over there and start get on the ground right now, it'd be a great experience, barring some type of war that might be started to to hinder this shift. But yeah, it's bad. It's definitely that one. Yeah, but I think is they've yet to, because you hear all this nuclear talk, so you never know how desperate the powers that be may actually be when it comes time to losing everything that they've tried to monopolize for the last 100 years. So yeah.
But Mike, you know, it's the central bankers that are behind most of this.
Right.
And every country but 3 has a central banker in it. And Iraq and Cuba and North Korea. And we're trying to get in all 3 of them.
Yeah.
So, you know, if everybody's involved in this, so everybody's involved with the new system that's coming around.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, I think that the leader of this new system is going to be Russia and China because of everything they have positioned. And I think naturally everyone's going to want to get away from what has been for the last 100 years, which has been a repressive regime that has, just destroyed and flooded the planet with paper in the form of the Federal Reserve notes. So everyone's going to be excited to go out east. So it won't take much convincing for Cuba to, shift back to Russia, the same Russian ties they used to have, and probably actually thrive, because Cuba, they're struggling. I mean, I was there a couple months ago, and the infrastructure they need some reviving. So especially after the hurricane. So I imagine it's even worse. But everyone's gonna be willing to accept it. It's just a matter of, getting rid of your old friend, the United States of America, and then it's gonna hurt us because everything we enjoy come from somebody else outside this country. So when that doesn't come in as easily, then we're going to have to get back on the grind, and you're going to start seeing stuff saying made in the USA again. But yet we're going to be making $5, $6, $8 in the factory making it, but we're going to have to survive. So
if that.
Yeah. If that. And whatever that new currency may be. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see.
And I think that's where the downfall is on Bitcoin, because everybody thinks Bitcoin's going to be the next rich man's thing. But if I can go out and get a computer next week and I can be rich next week, then really, is that the next best thing? I don't think so.
Yeah, we will see, man. So
I can mine next week.
what are your thoughts on 2018? Like, you see all this stuff being sped up as far as the futures, stuff happening out east. Do you think it's going to be some type of event or some type of shift happening next year, possibly?
No, it's just going to be a slow shift. I mean, we're already in transition, and the melt up of the dollar, and everybody's just going to try to play it safe, and next thing you know, you're going to turn around and USA is third world. I mean, that's the way they played it the last 7 times that the currency has imploded.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, man. I mean,
we just follow that path, and that's where we'll be.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just staying informed, man. Like, and I hear a lot of people talking about the importance of having a community of like-minded individuals to bounce thoughts off of.
Right.
I think just the people who are here tonight, and you as well, we're all aware of things shifting. So the end that we're aware, we're going to be first to be able to make a move, to be able to help out those that are going to come after us. So I think, and
I think you hit it right when you talked about using what talents you have in the labor field and gardening. I think if the community comes together, they can protect their own rather than you hoarding on to every canned good you got, every water supply you got, because they're gonna come in and snatch that real quick.
Right. We'll see.
So it's a matter of developing community around you. Yeah. And then try to get through it together.
Yeah, very true, my friend. But Tony, man, thank you for chiming in, and definitely nice to hear your voice finally. So looking forward to speaking again, buddy. Thank you.
I'm calling from Oakland, California, by the way. You never asked.
Okay, my bad. I apologize. Oakland house.
No, it's all good, bro.
All right, enjoy your evening.
All right, take care of yourself.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Tony from Oakland. Thanks, buddy, for calling in. Yeah, man, 2018 is going to be interesting because we are, experiencing something that's different. Very different, very different. So I'm interested in hearing some more Bitcoin future thoughts. Everyone kind of seems to be on the same track so far, that Bitcoin is going to be a pump and dump, or it's not. This whole futures aspect is not for you and I, our best interest. Anybody out there that probably has a different angle, I would love to hear it. Anybody think that this could be good for the crypto industry? And then another question I want to ask while I'm at it is that, by cryptocurrency or Bitcoin paving the way for this whole cryptography, to be considered a financial asset now, where does all those altcoins fit in? And how will all those actual software companies that's in the works with all the things they're doing, how will all those play out? So that's something to think about. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Hello?
Good evening, Michael and RTD fam. My name is Bobby. I am Bank Chief All Is One. I don't know if you covered it yet, because I might have came in a little bit late. I'm just wondering about your thoughts on the 1,000 or so people that own 40% of the Bitcoin, and if that is, how do you think that really goes with decentralization of that?
Now, I've heard that statement before, but I'm not familiar or sure where it arrived, where it came from. So what was the original source of that? And so I don't know if it's true. You know what? I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard it, but I'm not sure if it's true or not to say that 1,000 people actually can, hold the majority of it. One thing I do know, and I do believe, is that Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever that person is, has 1 million sitting around, just, waiting for whatever reason. So, but that 1,000, I'm not sure about it. So don't really, know much about it, other than I don't doubt that the people who initially got this movement off the ground, the people who, I guess, I heard somebody sold a pizza for 2,500 Bitcoins or something like that. So back when Bitcoin was actually just cold and nobody knew nothing about, there was a lot of people probably holding on to a lot of Bitcoins, because no one actually knew that it would become this big, other than the person that probably created it. And if it was created by some institution, they knew that the right timing, right after 08, 09, they knew that it would be a matter of time before it would catch on. So, that all goes back to the intentions of the creator and, who's the original, manufacturer of this concept. So, yeah, it's no one really knows, but 10 years from now, we'll be able to look back and reconnect the dots and see who benefited the most from the financial institution standpoint. And then we can say, okay, yeah, it was probably those guys on Wall Street, probably, or something like that. So,
I hear that. Okay. Just want to go ahead and thank you for all you're doing. This is definitely one of the top, my top subscriptions.
Oh, thank you,
if anybody is out in Western North Carolina that wants to talk and, chat back and forth amongst this community, I'm out here. Drop me a line. And that's it. I thank you for your time.
Sounds good, buddy. Well, thank you for calling in. Enjoy the rest of your night. Definitely continue to follow and chime in on the chat as well. Anything come to mind, just chime in or call me back. Enjoy your night, buddy. Thank you. Yeah, it's great to speak with people who have, a lot of things to share, man. Like the whole idea of a voice for the people is something that interests me, because everyone in their own right has a unique angle worthy of an audience. So I'm glad that I could kind of help you guys out, help you reach your audience.
Grasshopper, call for.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Hi there. Can you mute your computer?
Oh, okay. Hold on. Okay, hold on.
Might have lost them. Well, give me a call back, because when you call and your computer's on, it's hard to hear you because I hear myself. And that's extra weird to hear yourself over someone else's phone. So anyway, the paper game will get old very soon. They could have already bought BTC in the huge run up last month. Right. And that's the thing, change. That's very true, because on those dips, it's especially when I guess a month or two ago, when Jamie Dimon came out mentioning that it was a Ponzi scheme, stay away from it. And then come to find out from other sources in the European news that his European branch purchased, Bitcoin on the dip. So yeah, it's interesting, because when you think about how all this is playing out, and from my prior readings and whatnot, I think about how the whole Federal Reserve was presented to the American public back in 1909 when it was an Aldrich bill. And so it was basically the idea of, it was written by the banks for the banks, but it was positioned as something that the bankers were against. So the bankers, spent a lot of money, in major publications just before, they owned all the media publications, but they spent a lot of money to put out these ads saying that this bill is horrible. It will destroy the banking system. It will destroy, these big banks. But in actuality, they were the ones writing those articles and getting the American public on board to think that this bill, which ultimately became the Federal Reserve Act, was not something that was not in the best interest of the banks. So keep that in mind.
Press up.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yep, how you doing?
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, so what's your name? Where you calling from, buddy?
My name is Saladin Sharif. I'm calling from Seattle, Washington.
Seattle, Washington. Nice to meet you, buddy. Thanks for calling. What's on your mind?
Yeah. Oh, man, I just wanted to thank you, man, for your show, man. I appreciate it, man. You give me a lot of good insight. And I used to be in, I guess it was the streets of Detroit, and you would ask people about rethinking the dollar.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. And it kind of reminded me of, I don't know if you're familiar with the guy. His name is Mark Dice.
Yeah.
When he would try to sell people
silver coins,
gold,
yeah,
like 25 cents or something, and they wouldn't take it. And I wanted to ask you, are you a gold and silver stacker yourself?
I am. I have someone calling. I don't consider myself, and this thing, okay, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I don't consider myself a stacker, because the word stacking to me makes it sound like it's illegal. Like it makes it sound like you're intentionally trying to hide and go behind the back of the power. I'm not a stacker, so I don't like the word stacker. So that, you know, but I am a sound money advocate. So I consider myself more of a sound money banker myself. So I'm in a, so if you possess actual tangible physical wealth from the ground, such as gold and silver, in any form or any amount, you're your own banker, because that was the original intentions of banking, was for people to actually hold your metal. So I consider myself a sound money banker. So hope that answers your question.
Okay, no, yeah, that does, and basically, I'm on the same route. I guess back in 2008, when the first financial crisis happened, I was working for a construction company, and I noticed that we did high end gutters, and these gutters were very expensive. Yeah. And I noticed that our jobs went down. They lessened and lessened, like weekly and stuff like this. And I remember one morning we went to a restaurant, and we heard people in the background talking about how they lost their houses and stuff. But anyway, the company ended up folding because of the crisis, and that's when I got onto silver stacking, like through a friend. And I've amassed a bunch of ounces of gold and silver, and I just started dipping into the cryptocurrency. I just bought a couple Litecoin just the other day, just to have all my angles, solidify, because I do sleep better at night just knowing that I have a stash of the silver and gold if anything was to happen.
Yeah, I understand that. Now, so what are your thoughts on this sudden spike in cryptocurrency? So are you new to the space in general, and were you led in by the increase in the price, or were you aware of it prior to?
No, I'm sorry. I did, because it's hard, like me looking at you on TV and then talking to you, so I I can't look over there. But let me go back to I'm going to answer your question. Okay. No, not really. I'm not new into the space, because I remember when Bitcoin was like 400, and I was going to buy then. Yeah. But I didn't know how to, because the process was kind of difficult, and I was like, oh, this is just too much stuff that they're putting me through in order to try to buy some Bitcoin. But now they've made it a little bit easier, and I've seen it. I could have probably bought like 10 coins back then. Yeah. At 400, and you know what the price is doing now, so how much money I would have now. But I don't think that it's I mean, I used to believe that maybe it was government involvement in this, but now I don't really believe that all the way. Like, it has to be like I think it's more of a like more private hands, Yeah. So I don't know. I just look at it different now.
Yeah, and the good part is that you know, where you're aware of things outside the mainstream narrative. Like you are one that's willing to, you're one that's willing to question the mainstream story, and so you're kind of, I would say, I'm sure if you see some of my videos, I did the monetary matrix. And so the whole idea of people, you know, waking up to the idea that everything that we've been told and taught is not really the real deal. And so once you begin asking questions that cause you to think, you're going to find out a lot more than you might be wanting to know, but there's no turning back. So, yeah, man, that's good.
And I want to say one more before I leave. This will be my last thing. I like, you had an interview with a guy on there before. He's like, he was an economist. I can't even remember his name, but he said something that like kind of hit me. He said that the Federal Reserve trying to control the company is like a forest ranger trying to control how many mice or bears are in the park.
Oh,
you know, like they're gonna dial back on some bears or some rabbits, or
yeah,
you know, like you can't control that. That's only in God's hands.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean. I don't know if you remember that interview.
Yeah, that's
makes me think that these people really don't know what they're doing.
Yes, so I remember exactly, because that was, you know, that's from Kevin Massengill. He's actually one of Jane Ricker's partners, and that by far was one of my most, actually, it's one of my most viewed interviews, I believe, out of all the interviews I've had. And just because he used those analogies that really made you think, like that was by far, I watched it a couple of times after I talked to him on some, like I learned a lot myself because I liked his angles and how he positioned it, so anybody could understand it. So yeah, that was definitely a powerful interview, man.
It was, and man, just keep doing your thing, man. You're doing good work, man. You know the truth. You know you know everything right now is in a bubble. Even the stock market, everything's in a bubble. So we just got to keep on, you know, looking dead ahead, you know. But yeah, man, nice talking to you, man.
Thanks, brother. Thanks for calling in, my friend. Continue to chime in on the chat for me. All right. Have a good night.
All right. All right, you too.
Yeah, man. Awaking to reality. See more clearly. Expand the mind. I know I've missed some of the chat comments. Anything that I see, we got some good conversation going on there. I said I wouldn't fall too in love with Meadows, a Hawaiian monarch, were robbed by the U.S. government all their wealth. Interesting. Green light. The Hawaiian monarch. Share some more with that. I mean, that's interesting. That's something I'm not aware of. It says, RTD, what's your thoughts on the futures market for Bitcoin? Long-term story. I got here late. So Sean, my thoughts on the whole Bitcoin futures for what's being positioned right now, and what every exchange is looking to really ramp up and get out before the new year starts, is that they're going to get in because they want to reap some of these profits because they see natural momentum happening. And so because there's so much excitement, here's something really to consider. How come the mainstream news is so involved now? It's bubble. I mean, they're talking about Bitcoin bubble. True or not, every day, all day. Bitcoin is being mentioned every single day on all major news channels. Every social media ad has to do with crypto or mining or something like that. So a lot of these, this crypto craze or this hyper cryptoization I talked about a week ago, is all due to the fact that it's getting intensified mainstream media coverage for free. And why is that? Like, why would mainstream media be talking about something that was a threat to the status quo if it wasn't something, behind it that is an incentive for all these financial institutions to get involved now, to reap some of the profits, to get more people in? I wouldn't be surprised if these futures really, they probably put some pensions and some retirement portfolio. They start tying that stuff in with these Bitcoin futures, promising our senior citizens that the returns are, 10 times higher than conventional stock market stuff, to get all this money into this, these futures, and to where the Bitcoin price for the physical, or not the physical, but the digital Bitcoin that everyone holding their wallet, personal wallet, reaches that 1,100,000 point. But then it's all paper contracts on the future side, and they dump it all, and it goes from whatever it is at an all-time high, like never been seen before, to something incredibly low that's going to ruin and shake up the entire world, because everyone is banking on this Bitcoin being a store of value. You have everybody preaching about Bitcoin is, it's volatile every now and then, but it's a store of value. Right, but it's 8-9 years old, so it hasn't been tested yet. And I believe these futures will test Bitcoin. And then I believe because of this testing of Bitcoin, the primary recipient of the test will be Litecoin. So that's just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on that. Let me know if I'm far off or if I'm way over the cliff with that one. CNBC was rallying behind Bitcoin today, not a good feeling. Right. So here you go. So CNBC, you know, like when you see these people getting excited, and Charlie Lee, the Litecoin guy, they're inviting them on all these shows now to talk about Litecoin, and you know, it's all this pub. You know, I'm sure that the government ain't happy to have competition, man. Central bankers don't want competition, and cryptography is competition until it's used for their own purposes, of course. So that's something that I would really want to consider, my friend. Omnibone said, damn shame. I try to talk to as many people as I can, but you're right. Moon 7, what are we referring to? But there's Sally. Sorry, Story of Lot. I think his name was Story of Lot. So anybody else got some interesting angles or anything, or better yet, let me open it up. You know, we kind of covered the Bitcoin futures for the most part. Everyone seemed to be in alignment with the idea that it's not for our good, that they're going to maybe possibly pump and dump. So I want to open the mic up. You know, we got about a couple minutes. I want to keep this relatively short. It's been about an hour, give or take. So I want to open the mic up for any last thoughts or concerns or questions or anything that may not have been covered that might be worthy of the audience hearing about in regards to Eastern news, Western news, or anything in your local news that did not make mainstream that would definitely add value to this conversation. I'm open to hear that. So feel free to call in. Being the major threat that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are to the banks and governments, I don't see why they wouldn't try to manipulate and hold it back. Definitely. Come on. You know, it doesn't really make much sense to me for the people to prosper at the expense of the banks losing out. And they're losing out because people are dumping fiat to get involved. And it's really making people rethink fiat currency, because who needs fiat when you can go to cryptography? And so the banks are going to be the ones that lose out. So they don't want to lose out. So how do you not lose out? You get involved with futures where you don't even have to have any Bitcoins. You can just gamble. So basically these futures are becoming Las Vegas in a sense, as far as them betting on going long or going short. You're feeling on Saudi switching over to Gazprom. I haven't really been paying much attention, even though it's a main story. I'm aware of it. And so I'm not surprised. It's just a matter of time. So a question from Tony Blaylock is, you know, what are my feelings on switching from Saudi switching to Gazprom? And it was just a matter of time, because their buddy relationship with the United States of America over the petrodollar has ran its course, because we are too indebted. We can't pay them back. And they're probably running low on oil and everything else. So they need someone to provide to them. So they're definitely shifting out east as well. So not surprised one bit. That is true. There is a smear campaign, but could be like parents saying, stay away from something and childlike. Yeah. And that's the thing, like, I think it started initially when Bitcoin was rising from like 1,000 to 8, 9, 10. The mainstream news was really talking about bubble. But now they're more so like, because there's futures involved, because it's now an official financial instrument that is able to be traded paper-wise on markets, that this is now, they're not talking about bubble talk as much. They're talking about, you know, how is it worthy of having, should I get in? How do I, you know, so they're talking about more so how to now, as opposed to saying not to. So something also to consider. Says what is happening is what the powers that be want. Doc of the Bay. I don't doubt it. I hear you, Biddy. Does BTC as store of value frighten anyone? It doesn't function as a currency, especially compared to other cryptos out there, which will fulfill that role. Right. And so, I mean, because it's the first one, it's the most popular one. It's the anchor of this whole cryptography system. And so depending upon its success will kind of play into the success of the other altcoins, as well as those tokens that are more business oriented. And so I believe and so let me share with you another thought from a prior video that kind of came to mind afterwards, is I believe that, you know, everybody's ramping these changes east and west, because 2018, there's going to be a major pump in cryptography. There's going to be that they're going to cut the switch on out east. And because we're so distracted with these gains here in cryptography and in these cryptos, we may not necessarily feel right away or notice right away when our light switch comes on out east, with all this yuan, gold, petro swap, and the BRICS, gold system selling payments amongst themselves with gold. So this cryptography stuff and this cryptos reaching all-time highs can be something to keep our attention focused on what's inside of our country while all those changes take place outside. So this could be kind of like an arranged distraction on both parts, East and West, so that people aren't solely focused on the fact that, inflation just shot through the roof because they cut the switch on out East. And here, we had to, dial back or, basically print another 3 or 4 trillion to kind of stave off another recession that's, inevitable. So yeah, so this could all play into 2018, in my opinion. Maybe the bigger picture is getting everyone used to the whole idea of crypto payments. Russia and China also are about to issue their own state cryptocurrency. Yeah, and that whole state cryptocurrency, I believe it'll have something to do with every person who has a social security number, which is basically property of the government. Your social security number type of figure will be attached to your wallet. And then all your payments from your employer and investment will go through that wallet associated with your social security number right into regular transactions, so they can see everything on the front and back end. So that doesn't sound too far-fetched to me as an option of using blockchain for their own good, or their benefit rather. Silencing, huh? What does that mean? What do you mean, Omnibone? Would like to see Bitcoin pull back to 5 or 6K. Dollar is dying. Rethink it. Don't be like Jim Rogers. Yeah, Jim Rogers, when I had him on, he was like, be very scared. Be very, very scared. I'm like, okay, I'm, not really scared. More so curious to see what will be. BRIC nations are about to go hard. China has tons of gold. Very true. Silver, Trey G, mark of the beast. Yeah, Revelations does make it clear that, in order to buy or sell, we'll all have to have something that we're not currently using now in order to do business. And it will be something physically and obvious that everyone has to participate in order to do business. So is it blockchain related? We'll see. I seen that interview with Jim Miracles. Good guy though. I'm definitely gonna have him on again. Definitely gonna have everybody back on 2018. Also, just a little let the cat out the bag. I have a guest hopefully join me this week on RTD Live, so we get to call in and ask an actual economist, someone who's a global individual and who has their hands in on some things, so they are well informed. So hope to have them on this week. Had to change words. I think blockchain is a precursor. BRICS was a Rothschild idea. I wouldn't doubt it. We will see. There's no telling. Like always, it's not until you are able to look back and connect the dots can you tell where it originated from. And that's kind of how it's going to play out with cryptos. We will see, because 5 years, 10 years from now, whoever's benefiting the most at that time are the ones that it originated from and through. So that's what's going on. But anyway, so it's about an hour long of chit chat and great conversations. I appreciate you guys calling in and sharing your thoughts. Any last thoughts or any last points that need to be made for this Bitcoin futures night, a Monday night? Why crypto space is here. And for the sake of it, anybody want to call in for one last conversation via phone? I would love to hear someone's voice before I sign out for this this Monday evening. So I'll give it a couple minutes, give somebody a chance to call in. If you have anything you've been holding out on and want to call in last minute, definitely available to allow you to share with the audience, as well as to chime in with my 2 cents. Don't do this to me, Benny. Love your show. Moon 7, appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. And so the goal is, what I would like to do, for those that enjoy the conversation, and to get our family and friends involved. So like for me personally, I sent out a text to all my family and say, hey, I'm about to be online. Come join the chit chat, hear what other people have to say. And if you got a question, ask the audience or call in and ask me. Everyone kind of knows my thoughts, but ask your family and friends to join in, just to chime in and see what's in the chain. Because just the people adding comments, it's of value because it gets you thinking outside of what you see on your television. So just something to think about. So anyway, so it looks like it's going to be the end of the night for me, but I appreciate you guys calling in. Definitely was a blast as always. Everyone have a good night, and I'll see you later on. And as always, give me a thumbs up. And if you would like to, what would help is to share this video so more people can see what's going on and subscribe and be notified and get involved come next conversation. so we can try to get more people in tune with what's happening. So other than that, everybody enjoy your night, and I will see you guys later.